Hello everybody and welcome to another tier list Tuesday. I am the Goldman and today we will be doing a tier list of the Star Wars lightsaber battles. Now I'm only doing the ones in the movies and I'm only doing real lightsaber fights in a way. I've seen some other lists that will have Luke versus Vader in like the cave in Empire Strikes Back, no, or Rey versus Dark Rey, no, those don't count. Only times where there's actual lightsaber contact and it's a legitimate fight. Also on this list, we got a few duplicates. Like if you look at the bottom left of your screen, we got Rey and Kylo and then Finn and Kylo. Like to me, it's Kylo Ren versus Rey and Finn. So that's just one lightsaber fight. So I'll probably just leave one of them off, but we'll see. Also, I doubt any of them will be an F tier again. You guys know me. I will be something has to be really bad to be considered F tier. F tier literally to me means not even remotely presentable in a film, and all of these lightsaber fights are presentable. So anyway, let's begin. First we got, also I have them listed in chronological, no, release order. Up first we got Obi-Wan versus Vader in A New Hope. I understand this was the first lightsaber fight. It introduced what lightsaber fights are. They didn't really know what they wanted to be yet. But to me, the choreography just falls flat. It's a little silly. You don't feel the tension that you should. And that's because when this movie came out, there wasn't 3 prior films of Anakin versus Obi-Wan story development. So it makes sense that it doesn't have the emotional impact that it should. But either way, I don't really care for the fight, and I don't think many fans care for it either. I'm gonna put it in D tier. It's not a fight someone just rewatches, and it doesn't really have the emotional impact I wish it did have. Up next, we got Luke versus Vader in The Empire Strikes Back. Now, we gotta jump here. We gotta jump from the quality of the fight from episode 4 to the quality of the fight from episode 5. I've never been one who cares too much about the choreography. Now, you may call me a hypocrite because of where I put the fight in episode 4, but I care a lot about the emotion behind the fight, what's at stake for the characters, and kind of the banter and the exchanges between the characters. And for me, the fight between Vader and Luke in The Empire Strikes Back it's an S tier fight. Again, I'm not someone who's gonna care just because of how great the choreography is. I think what's at stake for Luke here, what's at stake for Vader, and the emotion behind it is fantastic, and that's why I love this fight. But up next, we got the fight in Return of the Jedi. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this is my favorite lightsaber fight in the franchise. I've said this before on my channel, and you guys will know more about this in the coming weeks. But the sequence with Luke and Vader in the throne room on Return of the Jedi is my favorite stuff in all of Star Wars. If I had to choose a specific moment that is my favorite, it would probably be Vader's death. But just the lightsaber fight, the introduction of Luke and the Emperor meeting, Vader ultimately sacrificing himself to defeat the Emperor and save his son, and then Vader's ultimate death. That's all my favorite stuff in Star Wars. So to me, this lightsaber fight is also my favorite thing in Star Wars, my favorite lightsaber fight in Star Wars. Just the turmoil that Vader is feeling inside, Luke's willingness to let go of his hate, put down his lightsaber, and not strike down his father in anger. I love that. That's everything that Star Wars is to me. So this fight is S tier, and I highly, highly doubt it will ever be topped, ever again. Up next, we got Qui-Gon versus Maul on Tatooine. It's a brief exchange. I'm not really a big fan of these shorter fights. You'll notice as I get deeper into the video, but there's not too much that happens. It's not like there's any cool set pieces. It's just a few wide shots of Qui-Gon and Maul fighting. And I think going forward, and this is something I forgot to mention, is that the first 3 fights, even the fight with Vader in A New Hope, they're well filmed. The choreography may not be the greatest, but they're well filmed in terms of wide shots, long takes, and all that. And I don't believe this fight has that. And it's also rather brief. I'll put it in C tier. Not a special fight to me. I don't care for it. I guess I'll put it in C tier. Up next, we got Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul. Up next, we got Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul. Another theme you'll notice in this video, I enjoy a lot of aspects of the prequels. I enjoy most of the lightsaber fights in the prequels, but I wouldn't say I'm a prequel fan. Like, I'm not someone who's gonna say, oh, the Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight is the best fight in Star Wars, because while it may be the best choreographed, and it is well filmed in terms of, again, wide shots, long takes, and all that, I don't feel the emotion behind it. There's nothing at stake necessarily between the characters. Like, obviously there's the Battle of Naboo, but in terms of what does Qui-Gon have does Qui-Gon have a personal vendetta against Darth Maul specifically? No. So there's nothing at stake between the characters, if you understand what I'm saying. I still think it's a well-filmed fight, so I'm going to put it in B tier. But again, for me, I look at fights that have a lot at stake within the characters. What does character A have against character B? In this fight, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan don't care about Darth Maul as a person at all. So to me, that's going to take it down to at least B tier. And we got duplicates up next. This is the lightsaber fight in Attack of the Clones. I'm gonna count these two, like it has Anakin versus Dooku and then Yoda versus Dooku as one. To me, it's the same fight. I loathe this fight. The set piece is really uninteresting, especially considering what the Phantom Menace's set piece was. You know, you got the nice, it's like the generator room. You got these really nice wide angles. And then there's a sequence in the lightsaber fight with Anakin and Dooku where it's really zoomed in and you just see them like boom, 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 like right in front of the camera. And I thought it was awful filmmaking. And then seeing Yoda fight Dooku, it just feels off. It doesn't feel as grounded as Yoda's fight with Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. I'm not a fan of this fight at all. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever to exist in Star Wars, but I'm going to put it in C tier. Also, by the way, another thing you'll notice, and if you've seen a lot of these videos, you'll know, the more left something is on the tier list, the more I like it. So right now, the Return of the Jedi fight is ahead of the Empire Strikes Back fight, and then the Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul fight is ahead of the Attack of the Clones fight. So the more left something is, the higher ranked it is. So yeah, the Yoda versus Dooku, that's just a duplicate, I'm not going to count it. So then up next, we got Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Dooku. Revenge of the Sith has a lot of fights, and most of them aren't meant to impress, per se, because the last two fights, the ones with Palpatine, Yoda, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin are like the final battles. So these ones are quicker fights. This fight does have at least that emotional element to it, where it's like, oh, there's something at stake between the characters. We saw Count Dooku beat Obi-Wan and Anakin in Attack of the Clones, and that carries over into this film. So there's that personal element there that I like that wasn't in the Phantom Menace fight. But again, the choreography is fine. There's nothing great here. It's just a fine fight for me. I did like the emotion at the end when Anakin decides to kill him, because that's kind of a little bit of a hint that he's going to go to the dark side. So I like this fight. I'm going to put it in B tier. I don't think it's as good as the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul fight, just because that fight is so well choreographed. But I do like the emotion a lot in the Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Dooku fight in Revenge of the Sith. Up next, we got the Grievous versus Obi-Wan fight. I hate this fight with a passion. It's my least favorite fight in Star Wars. Instant D tier. General Grievous is my least favorite character in Star Wars. You may already know this. Everything he represents, I loathe about Star Wars. A character just wielding 4 lightsabers like that pisses me off. I don't find it cool at all. And then he loses like 3 of them relatively quickly. And half the fight isn't even a lightsaber fight. You know, they're fighting on General Grievous's like crawler type thing. And then the way it finishes is by Obi-Wan just shooting him. I hate this fight. It doesn't really have any narrative point either. They kind of just needed Obi-Wan to go do something while Anakin turns to the dark side. So to me, it was a big waste. I shouldn't say it was a waste because this wasn't the final battle or anything, but I hate General Grievous. I hate this fight. Up next, we got the Mace Windu and the other 3 Jedi versus Palpatine. I really like this fight because, again, it has the emotion, behind it. You know, this is Palpatine's really first time confessing to the Jedi that he's a Sith Lord. And even though the 3 first Jedi die like bitches, including my boy Kit Fisto, I like the aspect of Mace Windu versus Palpatine. Even though Palpatine is making those funny faces, it has the emotion behind it that I really like. And then it culminates with Anakin's official turn to the dark side, which is a relatively decent scene. So for me, I'm gonna put it in, you know, this may be a hot take. I'm gonna put it ahead of the Phantom Menace fight, but in front. No, I'm gonna put it ahead of the Phantom Menace fight. I just prefer it more. Again, for me, I care more about the emotion than the choreography, so that's why I kind of have the Phantom Menace fight relatively low. Then we got the Yoda versus Palpatine fight. I'm starting to notice a trend here that most of these are probably gonna end up in B tier. It's a little silly when you think about it, how they enter the Senate room. It's like there has to be a camera there somewhere that's going to see Palpatine's a Sith Lord. I can tolerate Yoda dancing and spinning around more in this than I can in Attack of the Clones. Seeing Palpatine throw the Senate chairs was kind of cool. I prefer the actual Force aspect in the lightsaber duel. I'm going to put it ahead of the Phantom Menace fight too, but behind the Mace Windu fight. Again, it's more grounded. I like my lightsaber fights a little bit more grounded, so I will put it there. Also, I noticed this list actually doesn't have the Last Jedi Praetorian Guard fight, but I would have put this on the list, but it's not there. Then lastly, we got the Anakin vs. Obi-Wan final duel. This is probably my favorite lightsaber fight of the prequels. I'll put it in A. It has the emotion behind it that I wish the Phantom Menace fight had. Even though I think a big reason why it's in A tier and not lower is because I can mentally say, oh, I know the relationship between the Clone Wars, so the result feels more impactful. If it was just the movies, I'd probably have it in B tier, but because I'm a big Clone Wars fan, I'll have it in A tier. So yeah, it's a good lightsaber fight. I mean, it's the longest sword fight in film history, I believe. And is it too long? Is it a little over the top at times? Yes. But most of the fight is pretty grounded. And that's what I care about the most. Alright, now this is where I get all the dislikes. Up next, we got Rey versus Kylo Ren, or Rey and Finn versus Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens. Again, I'm a sequel shill. You guys are going to hate me for a lot of my takes here. I will probably put this one in the top of B tier. I love the grounded nature of it. I love seeing Rey versus Kylo Ren for the first time. I think there's a lot of emotion there between these characters, especially since Kylo Ren did just kill Han. It's just something about the Force Awakens fight that's also really nostalgic for me. I'll never forget the moment that I saw the Force Awakens for the first time, and when Rey caught the lightsaber, just the Force theme playing. Oh, I get chills thinking about it, man. I get chills thinking about it. One of my favorite fights. I'll put it in B tier. I think I'd prefer the Revenge of the Sith fight more, just because it's a little bit more over the top. But yeah, I really like the Force Awakens fight more than most of the prequel fights, so I will put it there. You know, I'm a little upset. I should have checked this before. My bad. But if the Praetorian Guard fight in The Last Jedi was here, I'd probably have it at the top of A tier. But that would get this video disliked instantly. But up next, we got Luke versus Kylo at the end of The Last Jedi. Now, some of you may not even call this a lightsaber fight because the blades never clash, and it's pretty much just Luke dodging Kylo's strikes. But I'm going to put it in A tier. Nonetheless, you guys can go screw off. So, I'm the worst. Everything about this fight I love. Yes, the lightsaber blades don't technically clash, but the way this scene was filmed, this isn't the choreography I'm talking about, just the cinematography of this fight. You got really nice wide angles. The backdrop is fantastic. But most importantly, what I love about this fight is the emotion that's going on. Luke versus Kylo Ren. You know, Kylo Ren's confronting his master again. Seeing Luke utterly school this kid in terms of just power of the Force. I mean, people love to say that they've ruined Luke in the sequels, but if you think about what he did, that is probably the most powerful action of the Force we've seen in the franchise, at least in the movies, you know, projecting yourself across the galaxy. So we saw Luke's power, and what he did at the end of this movie, you know, sacrificed his life in a passive way, didn't kill a single person in the First Order, but still saved a bunch of lives in a way is the most Jedi thing ever. And it's a perfect culmination of everything that Yoda taught. That Jedi fight in defense, not in attack. I love this fight. I don't care what you think. Up next, we got the Rey versus Kylo fight on Kijimi. I wouldn't say this fight has the emotion that I wish it did. I think it's filmed relatively well. There's some cool camera tricks done here with them being, you know, the fight takes place during their Force bond, so they're in 2 different locations. I like that aspect of the fight, but all we do find out here is that Rey's parents died. We don't even find out that Rey's a real Palpatine here. This is a pretty forgettable fight, even though I think it's nicely filmed. I'm going to put it at the bottom of B tier. I appreciate the fight. It's not great. It's not super memorable, but hey, I like it. And then lastly, we got Rey vs. Kylo Ren at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. I'm a little mixed on this fight too. I kind of feel the same way with this fight as I do about the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon vs. Maul fight. While the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fight, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul fight, I'm sorry, I always have to like make sure I say that correctly. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul fight. Again, I've said this before, it has the choreography, it's filmed well, but it doesn't really have the emotion behind it. This fight has a little bit more emotion to me than the Phantom Menace fight, but the choreography is not as nice. The backdrop's really cool. I think it's a well-filmed fight. I think the ending is a little bit anticlimactic with Kylo beating Rey, but then Leia reaches out to them, and then Rey stabs Kylo, and then she force heals him. It's not the greatest aspect of the fight. I don't hate it. I mean, a lot of people, you know, they hate the sequels, so they don't care. I'm gonna put this just behind the Phantom Menace fight. If I had to choose one to watch, I'd probably choose the Phantom Menace fight, but I don't think it's bad, and I would definitely take this over the Attack of the Clones fights any day. So yeah, this is my final list. Again, if I had a Last Jedi list, if I had a Praetorian Guard fight in here, it would probably be between Luke and Kylo, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin, so like in the middle of A tier. But yeah, this is my list. Thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. I hope you don't hate my list too much. Don't forget to tonight the Cloud Squad, and I will see you guys next time.